You and I are constantly bombarded by misinformation from politicians, celebrities, and media personalities who demonize guns and gun owners. Their accounts are contrary to my experience as a responsible gun owner, a retired police officer, and a professional competitive shooter. I have listened to their lies and I've taken their punches, but I refuse to stay silent any longer because I know a lot of women who have something to say and they won in the game. They're ready to play offense with the truth.
The truth is, we all want the same thing: to protect ourselves, our families, and to be safe in our communities. The DC Project is a nationwide grassroots organization made up of women from every demographic. We come from all different walks of life, but we are united in preserving our Second Amendment rights. As we share our experiences, we push back against gun control lies and oppose those who demand our rights be restricted.
As an immigrant from Venezuela, I saw how easy it was for freedom to die. My family and I watched tyranny destroy our home. In Venezuela, the media, celebrities, and politicians repeated the same anti-gun messages until people found it normal and acceptable to give up their freedoms. The reality is, none of it is normal or acceptable. Hungry and helpless, Venezuelans are now unable to protect themselves. Now, as a proud American, I am determined to guard against the same things happening here.
We constantly hear about common sense gun control, like universal background checks, banning assault weapons, ghost guns, high-capacity magazines, and gun show loopholes. Every city that is facing massive crime waves have put these policies into place. Common sense tells me that they don't work. So why do people still believe the idea that those policies save lives? Actual common sense is holding criminals accountable, not letting them out of jail or encouraging them to be more confrontational. Common sense is not stealing the right of the American people to protect themselves. This is the message that America needs to hear.
The DC Project works to reduce firearm accidents by campaigning for education in schools. We counter the false gun control lies by testifying in hearings and meeting our legislators. We equip our friends, our families, and our communities to know the truth. Gun owners are good people.
America is a beacon of freedom. The Second Amendment is vital piece in ensuring that our kids can have a free country to grow up in. We stand with the lawmakers who support the Constitution, and we provide armor from the attacks by the gun control lobby.
Join the DC Project today. Become a member, donate, or subscribe to our newsletter for updates on how we educate, advocate, and preserve our Second Amendment rights for generations to come.
When people use a firearm in self-defense, they could be arrested or sued and face extensive legal costs. Firearms Legal Protection provides uncapped legal defense for any member who uses a legal weapon in defense of themselves or others, providing members with peace of mind in these difficult situations by covering all attorney fees and other benefits. Use code EOTT at firearmslegal.com for a discount on all membership plans. Protect yourself. We'll protect you.
Hey there, Rob. Welcome to Eye on the Target Radio on this great Sunday evening.
It's not great. It was cold and rainy all day.
But we're talking all over the United States. Some people
It was
don't
probably
have
crappy
cold
in their
and
neighborhood.
they don't have cold and rainy there. I don't know. I don't know. Bob was just talking to Florida. They're rainy and wet and all of that too.
But I mean, we're like a week from Christmas, so it could be worse, as they say.
It could be. It could be a lot worse.
So,
Right.
yeah, it was funny. I was going to a Christmas party the other night, and they texted me, "Bring your gun cleaner stuff with you, so you can take a look at my gun." While you're
So how'd it go? And what gun did you take a look at?
It was just they had bought an AR, and it was sticking, and so
It was just sticky.
No, it was built out of either substandard parts or somebody had put it together and didn't pay attention to details. So
Oh, so it wasn't that you need the gun cleaning kit, you need a file?
yeah, I told them what they needed to do to it, and then I said just shoot the crap out of it, and we'll be good to go.
Okay, so you got them set that way. Okay, well that
Yeah,
makes
nothing wrong with that. The 10,000 bullets won't cure
Okay.
smooth out.
So speaking of that, am I getting my gun cleaning supplies back?
You could.
Because you were like, I forgot. Do you have any? Well, let's see what I have in the truck, right? Because everybody has some spare whatever just in the door of the truck.
Yep.
Just
At least they
because, you know?
should.
Yeah.
At least they
Oh,
should.
see, weather reports is cold and dreary in Southern California.
See?
I think he's pulling my leg. There's
See, I
not
was
really
saying, it
cold and
never
dreary
rains
in
California, I believe is how that song used to go. Or
Right.
something.
I don't know. Florida reported rain, so maybe I didn't look at the weather. My husband is like a weather nerd.
I was
I
I was
didn't.
wearing a sweatshirt and a coat today, so it wasn't fun outside.
Got it. Got it. Well, I got my new holster from 3i Holster for my FN.
So you've been practicing your quick draw?
If I'd have put on pants, then I could have put on a belt. Then I could have done that. So instead, I held the holster and I held the gun and I clicked it in and out of the holster and I flipped it upside down and I did.
Good, good
So,
enough.
so I played with it. But I played with it while I was wearing yoga pants,
Did
and
you take a picture of it and put it on the internet? Because I know how you are.
I didn't. I did not yet. So the funny part is, those of us who wear yoga pants,
Not me.
I know, but yeah, I can't even imagine.
I
Okay.
would look good about yoga pants.
I can't even imagine. But those of us, the problem with yoga pants is that you can't then put on a gun belt.
They're yoga pants. That's what the problem is.
The problem is they have expectation that you actually do something. Is that what you're saying?
You might as well just spray paint something on your rear end.
There is there's yoga pants, and then there's those. Those are leggings. Leggings are different than yoga pants. Yoga pants are made to stretch and move with you. Leggings are made to, I don't
That
know
sounds
what.
like a 70s leisure suit advertisement to stretch and move with you, so you
Well,
could you
Maybe.
can stretch your stuff on the disco floor.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of where. That's
I would
sort of
I would
where.
do the John Travolta pose, but I'd probably pull a muscle or something.
Yeah, it would be bad. But yoga pants do not have belt loops, so you can't put a belt on. So if you put a gun belt on and then you pull your gun without belt loops hold your belt where it's supposed to be. Without belt loops,
You could just
you're
pull your belt up tight like 2 inches
like a
of sausage, and then then it'd be right there. You wouldn't have to worry about.
no, that's a problem too. Tried it. So here's the problem with that. The problem with that is women have curves. And so what happens is your gun pokes in or your gun pokes out, depending on whether your curves are in or out, right? So when you tighten up your belt, your gun definitely, the barrel pokes out, the grip pokes in, it sticks into your ribs, and then you can't get it out anyhow because now you're wedged in between you and you.
Sounds
Right.
to me like you should just carry a shotgun on your back and a quiver or something like they do in the cool movies.
Or when I'm practicing with my gun, I have to put on pants. So so people made fun of me because I was doing something and I was wearing some kind of a slip-on shoe, and they're like, "You cannot have self-defense with slip-on shoes." And I was like, "Yeah, I can, because I can shoot with slip-on shoes. I can't run with slip-on shoes, so it's more important that I have a gun because I
Got to that
cannot.
age where running was out anyway.
Running's yeah. So
So.
it would be that thing
Gonna have to
between
shoot first and worry about running later.
right, because I mean when at that
Now,
point
hobble away is a.
when they said you threw a shoe, they meant it, right? Yeah. So it's really funny though somehow how your clothing choices impact your whole self-defense thing. Though when I say that, that brings me right to you and your clothing choices. And I don't know if our listeners have heard the Matthew McConaughey White Boy Rick story
Well,
lately.
I just wear the same thing every day, and it's kind of. I mean, to the point one day we were at the Walmart, and there was a clearance rack of shirts, so I bought 26 of the exact same color shirts for $3 a piece. My daughter's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm not changing sizes anytime soon, so I might as well just stock up on these."
I'll stock up until I do something bad to it, and then it goes into the.
Yep.
I don't.
These are the unusable ones, and I get a new one out at that point. So.
Right, because you never quite look disheveled. You just look. I don't know. Well, except for the errant mustard stain here and there,
Except for
but
when I bought the 25 white shirts, and you were like, "I can't believe it."
he bought 25 white shirts. When you look at Rob in a white shirt, well, the first thing is that I was so shocked that he was wearing a white shirt that I didn't even notice that he'd gotten like 4 inches cut off his beard because I was like, "What happened to you, dude? What happened to you?" And I mean,
Makeover.
no, he looked like he was gonna start to sing like who were the oil guys that used to sing their commercial from the Uniroyal or
Those
something?
are
Those are
Uniroyal's tire
the tire
guys.
people. Well, they would sing and dance around the car and something like that. That's
The Texaco, maybe.
maybe, but that's what you looked like. You looked like you ought to be either changing my tires or checking
I
my
was
oil
I was
or
going down for that. I was going for that falling down look, but you have to be in the movie, watch movies to know what.
I don't know what that is. You just looked like you needed to kind of have your hair in a DA and let me wash the windshield for you, ma'am. Right? That's kind of what that look was.
All I
But
can think of is the guy that comes up at the intersection and washes your windshield. I don't.
some days you look like that too, but not most days. Um, but no, for you, since you wear the same pants and you wear the same shirt, in effect, your concealed carry is really pretty easy because it's a holster and a gun, and then that was that. But no, let me tell the folks about we were extras in the movie White Boy Rick. And as extras in the movie, the first thing is they had guns and gun tables and all that kind of stuff. So that was all cool. But then they sent us to costuming, and they sent me one direction and they sent you a different direction, and they left you alone. And I don't know what they were
Well,
thinking.
we were supposed to be it was supposed to be a gun show in 1984, and so we got there. The place was a mess. So I showed them what a gun show in 1984 was supposed to look like, and so they had to
And
take
you're
a bunch.
like, this sign's wrong. These targets they hadn't started making yet.
They had to change a lot of things to get it to look like 1984.
And some of it they just said, I'm not even doing it. We're just going to go with this. And they're saying, our expert didn't see a problem. Rob's like, well,
So much for their expert.
get a new one.
Anyhow, we go to costume. They looked at me and they said, "Don't change a thing." And they took my hat off and gave me a nondescript hat.
And then they took his camera and they took a picture of him and said, wear this outfit. And he's like, I got 37 of exactly the same shirt. So it's not a problem. Me, on the other hand, they gave me high-waisted pants, a silky shirt. So the funny part was the day that we were going to be in the movie, props came out with this little clothing bag for each
Right, they come
person.
in, signed in, and they handed you your clothing, and mine was just a suit bag with a hat in it.
With a hat in it. So it was see-through with a hat. It was the funniest. I made a spectacle because I laughed at him so hard and long. But I made a spectacle. But it says that he still looks like 1984. Exactly. We'll be back right after this.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3 and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
I'm Charlie Cook from Writing Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the backseat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Writing Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough? Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
We all know rust is bad. To help keep rust from forming on your firearms, tools, and other ferrous-based items, you want to have Rust is Bad in your gun-safe toolbox and anywhere you want to be rust-free. Rust is Bad bolsters and G-strings deposit small, safe particles that coat your rust-vulnerable items. Save your valuable items with Rust is Bad. Go to www.eyeonthetargetradio.com and follow the link for more information. That's www.eyeonthetargetradio.com for Rust is Bad.
It's a big deal.
Okay, we are back. And my chair is getting lower and lower. And so pretty soon I'm going to look like I'm 6. Because I have no idea what's happened to it, but I'm pretty far.
Apparently, you'll have to cut something and put it in the bottom or wedge it up.
Apparently, we're gonna have to flip it over and do some studio repairs here because this is like. You've all sat in a chair when it slowly just does that reset. That's what I just reset down about 2 inches.
All you see is you look like Kilroy.
I think my hair's standing on end because it flew me down at the same
you look
time.
like Kilroy before long.
That's all we get is just that, right? Just eyes and a little bit of a nose. Got it. So okay, so history-wise, tell me about HK. And so
I don't know a whole lot about HK. I mean, they came on the scene after the war, Second World War.
I was like, which war? Because we've had a few.
It looked a lot like some of their first stuff. They just kind of kept the blueprints that the Nazis were using for some of their other things. So the earliest stuff I remember are what they call it a G3, and basically it looks like an MP44, only bigger, to take 308 ammo.
Okay.
And in the 70s, I had a VP70. They called it a space gun. It was a really goofy looking all plastic gun. It was funny because they made some with buttstocks, and if you put the buttstock on, it went full auto. But if you took the buttstock off, then it was just a regular semi-automatic pistol. It was the
buttstock would make
somehow
it go.
It fit in and pushed the button inside the gun, and that caused the gun to shoot full auto at that point.
Oh, I bet the ATF just loved.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of. I don't think they brought a lot of buttstocks into the country, but they brought the guns into the country, and it was funny because I had bought one of those years ago. It didn't have a magazine. I thought, well, not a big deal. But in the early '80s, I think I paid $75 for a magazine at that time. So it was quite
a deal.
Pricey. Shocking.
Shocking. It was a deal.
But I mean, in true German fashion, all of their stuff is really. It doesn't take a lot of screws and nuts and bolts and everything. It's usually push pins. It comes apart like a Chinese puzzle. It was a well thought out, pretty good design, and that's why today they're one of the top manufacturers, because their stuff wasn't junky and by the world standards.
Well, there are, and the reason that I ask about that is because everybody has suggested that I go with this VP9, and so
I have not shot one of those, but
you'll have an opportunity.
What was the other one? The 30, the one before that.
I don't know.
It was a very comfortable gun. I mean, it fit in my hand perfectly.
Well, we're gonna go for the red dot thing because I am finding that a woman of a certain age
can't see the sights no more.
Can't see stuff. So I'm.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a lot with the red dots on some Smith & Wesson, and that at first it's hard to get used to, but if you train yourself in a completely different way, instead of looking at the target and coming to the trying to find your sight at that point, you just bring the red dot to that point, then it's faster in the long run. And no matter how you're holding it, once the red dot's on it, you're good to go. You just start pouring the bullets to it, and it's much faster and better. It just takes a different little bit of a finessing to learn how to make it happen.
Well, right now I now have, I could spread out a beach tile and I can start. I have all the pieces. So
now you just got to bolt it all together. That's the thing too. So I don't know what kind of red dot you're going to get, but some of the early stuff you used to have to put the battery in as you put it together, and then when the battery went dead, you had to take it all back apart and then put batteries in it and then put it all back together again, Loctite and the whole. There's a lot of monkey motions to it.
I bought a green dot instead of a red dot because they say that if you have certain.
Well, they say that green shows up better in the daylight, but I don't know. I know that blue, some people can't see the blue crosshairs.
I don't know, but they say that people with an astigmatism see the green one better than the red one. The red one turns into, you know how the headlights kind of go and that big star pattern kind of thing that you see on rainy headlighty days. They say that
too, it's like a big giant peep sight. So if you just put something in the middle of that peep sight, and then you start
Looking for
stepping on the
something in the
gas,
middle.
eventually you'll bound
You'll
to
hit it.
something.
So we're gonna you guys we're going on an adventure. Let's just say you're going on an adventure, and then we'll find out
Like
how
the old
this
man
all.
used to tell me, you already paid for those bullets. If you don't shoot them, you sure ain't gonna get anything.
You're not gonna learn anything from that, but that's exactly it. So I'm headed down this adventure, the adventure highway, if you will, of all the stuff that needs to be, stuff started appearing. The Amazon truck and the UPS truck and the U.S. Post truck, and my husband kept bringing in stuff, and he's like, "Are those magazines? Nope. They feel like magazines. Nope." So I didn't tell him what they were. They're just parts. We've got more parts coming in, but now we'll build it all.
Keep in mind, you'll get on Joe Biden's list if you start buying too much parts.
I'm pretty sure that if there is a list, not if, I'm pretty sure there is a list, and
list,
two, I'm pretty sure that I'm on it. Just in generalities of, people who are most likely to travel across the country with a gun to train somewhere to learn something. Yes, that would be a piece of it. But everybody's got to be on some kind of a list at some point for something that has value to them, and that would be where I am, right?
Yep. I seen the other day that HK got a contract from India for 70,000 rifles. So
that'd be cool. That would be.
That makes me wonder: are they making them here in the U.S. or do they make them in Germany? And is Joe Biden in his 90-day moratorium where you can't sell anything out of the country? Is that going to affect them?
Is India part of the? Well, India is obviously out of the country, but is India? There was a list, and then there was a list, and because
we like you or we don't like you,
or we like you a long time. I don't know. I mean, because there was a spot where they had to make the list, and then they had to correct the list because there were people who were going to have a serious case of the crank about what was or was not on the list. So we'll be back right after this.
Grab your friends and head to Georgia to train with the Complete Combatant. The Complete Combatant offers a unique approach to self-defense training, layering the first signs of danger, lethal versus non-lethal decisions, and even surviving the aftermath. They offer premier firearms training with a range master certified instructor and host the top minds in our industry. See the courses offered on thecompletecombatant.com. That's thecompletecombatant.com.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolcool and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl / mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Okay, so we are back, and I want to give a shout out to those of you who are in the, let's say, gun community. There are little subgroups within the gun community. There's the activists, there's the three gunners, there's the USPSAs, there's the long range people, there's the trap shooters, there's the...
You know, it's funny is that I know people who say they're in the gun community, but yet they don't know any of those people. They're in their own little group.
Right, they're in their little subgroup, right? But there is, so there's this giant group, and then there's these small subgroups within the giant group. But so one of our own was hurt this past week, and he in a motorcycle accident, and so it's really interesting to watch the community come together to provide support. So it was Ryan Muller, and Ryan was in Oklahoma, wrecked his motorcycle, and broke his back. His wife at the same time was at the, what is it? The International Shotgun something or other. So she was in Thailand. So she was in Thailand competing, representing the United States, when she gets a call that says that he's been in Iraq, and they have and they're taking him to the hospital. And so she is literally on the other side of the world trying to get home. And so just watching the community close ranks as to those who are in Thailand with her, what can they do, how can they help, those who are here, who could be where, what could they do. I just want to say, one, that we are so ever so grateful that Ryan is, there's actually pictures of him sitting up, making progress, and that we are all hoping and praying and crossing our fingers and everything that we possibly can to make sure that if there's something in our arena that we can do to help with it, we will. But that Ryan Muller has our prayers, and the rest of you all, you know who you are, that we're involved in some aspect of this. Anything from the GoFundMe to sending pizza and bundt cakes, right? It really doesn't matter. It's just sharing the love, and very, very, very much appreciate that. So Ryan is the cook for the Ambassadors Academy that we do in Florida. So it goes from Oklahoma, Kansas to Florida to be the cook for that. And I've already heard that there's multiple people who are like, well, what's going to happen? Who's going to cook? What are we going to do? We'll do it. So they are standing in queue to say, call on me.
Hopefully they
I will
cook better
go.
than I do.
Yeah.
Otherwise it'll be macaroni and cheese all week long.
Everybody, I'm channeling my inner Ryan, and guess what? Ryan 2.0 can't cook. I get it. No, it's so heartwarming to watch people step up and do that, that kind of a thing. But I just wanted to give a shout out to that. So, okay, so what do you got?
Bruins winning. I keep saying that.
Oh, did I tell you that I ran into a gal who is in pre-law, and so she's going to college. She's going to be a lawyer. She's all about the Constitution. She's all about the Supreme Court. And I was like, oh, let's talk. Well,
she wasn't about the same Supreme Court you were about, right?
I think I scared her. If she does not end up being a lawyer, I apologize to society right now. But I was like, oh, we could sit down and we could talk about Heller and McDonald and Bruin, and there's just so much stuff, and it's all so exciting.
There's some stuff going on right now where New York is celebrating because they've kind of put a stay on any of the holds and stuff on what's going on. Illinois also has some assault weapons bans that are on hold in the Supreme Court. Indiana also is doing some stuff. I think that they're going to be in for a major surprise when all this comes up on the next rotation. They're going to address a lot of this stuff, I think, and that's why they kind of right now are just saying we're not going to do anything with it. So I think the last time when he said, if you make me have to pull his car over, things are going to go bad for you. I think that this is starting to where he's starting to break for that next exit. So he can...
Right now he's still driving and he's reaching back and he's just smacking whatever he can reach.
But he's got the turn signal on and he's slowing down for the next exit.
He's slowing down.
I think there's going to be a major round of play here. And some of this is not going to go well for them.
So in this case, it's Governor Hochul in New York, but in this case, which is Anton, I don't know how to say this, but it looks like it's Antonyuk, Antonyuk, Antonyuk. Something.
It's something like that.
Something like that. I hate it when I don't know how to say it. And this is one of the disadvantages of
being
getting
a reader instead of hearing somebody else say it.
Exactly.
See, if you were on the YouTube where you could listen to them read it to you, then you'd know how they misrepresented it.
Well, there is that. So the interesting part is I read one time is to never make fun of someone who mispronounces a word, because that means that they're a reader. They're not. So there is.
It's like when you're reading a book and they got 30 players in it, and you just give them all a new name. So when the guy, you can't say the name, so you just name him Bob or Jim or something.
Whatever the first letter was.
That just comes up as like.
So on that, have you ever read the word Penelope?
It looks like Penelope.
Penelope. So I want you to know that one day I was reading a book to my mother, and when I got to Penelope, and Penelope did something, she's like, "Wait, what?" And she takes it away from me. She looks at it. She's like, Penelope. I'm like, how do you get Penelope out of this?
Right,
it's Penelope. So we were just in.
It's kind of like your brother Cantaloupe, right?
Cantaloupe. We were in Louisiana, and we were trying to figure out how to spell the donuts, the beignets.
Beignets, what?
Well, it's spelled beige net. Right? I was like, beige net.
Well, that's the thing is you get French and you get hillbilly and you get the Cajun twist
Right,
on it.
and then you get a little bit of
pretty
all that.
soon,
You have no clue.
You don't have any idea what they're saying. Do you
Yeah.
remember that guy who used to be on the TV teaching you to cook, and he used to say "yonion" or something like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember him.
It was a yonion.
The onions.
I don't know if that's how you say yonion or not, but
No, it
sounds
was
cool.
it was onion. He was saying.
Right, but we've been saying it wrong all these years, and he's not, or has he been saying it wrong, and we just remember it?
Oh. No. I'm just gonna say no. But okay. So anyhow, let's go back to Antonyuk. I've called it Antonyuk versus Hochul.
That sounds like something off of Star Wars. Anyhow, whatever
Well,
like the
it
name,
looks like that.
whatever name that they give people on Star Wars.
I don't know. Okay, you're squirreling me again. So when you look at this, what they did was that they stood for a lot of the case and allowed New York to win. But what they took away was the big hue and cry that was happening in New York was that to get a concealed carry license, you had to make a social media disclosure, and they had to be able to look at like 3 years of your social media records. I'm just going to say that you, Rob Campbell, would never, ever, ever get a government license to do anything based on your social media records. I'm just going to say that they would identify your tinfoil hat, because your tinfoil hat would be like a sombrero. It's big and it's very, very bright. So there would be that. The other thing that they did was they took away some of the restricted locations. So in New York, they have sensitive places, restrictive places, restricted locations. And so they have like this 3-tier of you're not going there kind of thing. And so some of the court took away some of the restricted portions of New York. But I cannot wait. I absolutely cannot wait until it gets from the Second Circuit Court to...
I have another story that's a squirrel that's really funny, because when they talk about gun-free zones,
right?
They were doing some inspecting of some prisons,
right?
And so they did find in this one they found a firearm with 2 rounds in it behind a wall-mounted phone in the day room C wing.
Okay.
And then they said in other areas that they had found in Atlanta last year, the detention center found a loaded handgun inside an inmate's pillow, and Cook County Jail in Chicago and Metropolitan Correction Facility in Manhattan
also had
both
firearms.
found firearms.
So
there's no such thing as a gun-free
So
zone.
here's gun-free zones that are legit. I mean,
Like they say they got strip searches and metal detectors, and they still can't keep the gun out.
gun-free zones that are legit gun-free zones. I mean, you can't get more gun-free than this. It's not a sign. It's a they have rules, lots and lots of rules, and yet there's this whole list and litany of guns in them. So you're right. We'll be back right after these messages.
Your front door, your car, your gun. Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different, and the best way to help prevent accidents, misuse, and theft. Cable locks help keep firearms secured. Learn how to get a free firearm safety kit. Visit projectchildsafe.org. If you have a firearm, own it, respect it, and secure it. Brought to you by the National Shooting Sports Foundation and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Hi, I'm Janelle Westrom, owner of Davenport Guns and Davenport Shooting Club. At Davenport Guns, we do so much more than sell firearms. We advocate for increased personal safety and security, not just for you, but your whole family and community. Go to davenportguns.com to see our online inventory and browse videos, articles, and things we just find entertaining. Sign up for our newsletter to learn more.
This is Cheryl Todd of Gun Freedom Radio, and I am proud to join Amanda Suffolk and all the 50 women, one from each state, in our grassroots efforts to protect the Second Amendment as delegates of the DC Project. Grassroots organizations like the DC Project run on donations, so please consider donating to our GoFundMe/DC Project to keep the promise of freedom alive.
Ladies, ever wish you could find a brand that understood the difference between feminine and functional? A brand that didn't make you choose between looking good and looking tough. Check out offhandgear.com, a brand designed by a gun girl/mom that closed the gap to give you feminine, durable, functional gear. Offhandgear.com, the brand that gets you.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition, and what do they do? Realize Firearms Awareness Coalition is a not-for-profit group based in Portage County, registered as a 501c3, and organized to educate about the historical intent of the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States of America, to share knowledge, to enable citizens to accurately relate and defend aspects of the U.S. Constitution, to enhance public awareness and support for responsible gun ownership, and to emphasize firearms education for women who facilitate the transmittal of constitutional awareness and gun ownership to succeeding generations. How do they intend to do that? By talking to you all and having you talk back, by hosting educational summits and events. So tune in, listen, and participate. RealizeFAC.com.
I'm Charlie Cook from Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Conversations in the car about gun safety, freedoms, and even a few laughs. Imagine you're in the back seat listening to an intimate chat with me and my passengers as we drive all around the country. Listen, watch, and subscribe to the Riding Shotgun with Charlie YouTube channel and podcast.
Are you interested in firearms? Are you looking for a resource to help you understand guns? Trying to help someone who's new to the world of shooting? Hi, I'm John Petrolino, 2A writer and the author of Decoding Firearms, an easy-to-read guide on general gun safety and use. Decoding Firearms is a comprehensive book with 266 pages of information. Want to learn more? Visit thepenpatriot.com or get yours today on Amazon in paperback or Kindle.
Okay, we are back. Do you know that we are very, very close to 1 month away from SHOT Show?
Woohoo!
So that means to all of our listeners, if there is something that you want us to see or touch or shoot or talk to them about, let us know, because Rob will have a list and he will make his way around 4 days of looking at guns and gun parts and
Cool stuff.
all that, miles and miles and miles of it. And we're in the countdown mode. I couldn't believe how close the time is moving pretty darn quickly.
I was at a party the other night and the guy asked me about the thermal scopes and stuff.
You're like, I'm looking.
What do normal people talk about at parties, I wonder?
Other people. So you're much better if you're talking about something than talking about other people. But I don't know. I don't get the normal people thing, because we're talking the Supreme Court, we're talking politics, we're talking going to DC, we're all of that, planning a trip to Alaska.
And it's funny is, I don't travel and all this stuff too much, so I get people that call me.
Wait, you don't travel all that much?
Not like you, for sure. And I definitely don't go. I don't like going to the beach. I don't like going to the water. I don't like.
Okay.
I don't travel for entertainment. Let's put it that way.
Legit. I know. He said, legitimately, he was on a cruise and he was like, they put me in water jail.
Yeah, well,
I'm in water jail.
Like water
No,
jail.
it's a cruise ship where
Had-
you're supposed
had-
to people pay for the privilege and have a good time.
Had
No,
better food, but that's about the only difference. I mean, I spent a couple days in the Kent Hotel, and it was the same thing except for cold coffee and cold pork sandwiches.
water, water jail. Got it, man. I don't know.
But yeah, anyhow, the travel's not my thing. And,
No, not not at all.
I'm a certified workaholic, and if work is not involved in it, then I am bored and I'm sleeping usually. That's one thing that's about like going to SHOT Show is at least I get to work during the day, and then I can go gambling or out to dinner or something and hang out with my friends and act like a normal person without really being bored out of my skull. And,
Right, because your friends aren't normal people either. That's the funny part.
oh, I thought they were.
Moving on. Absolutely moving on. So okay. So I got an article. I'm gonna move right on to this. I got an article on when we talk about what do we expect to have happen when Bruin takes over and guns and getting guns and freeing up guns and making them available and allowing people to have self-defense in their communities and all of that kind of stuff. It's like, then what happens? Because
you know, when you look at it, the liberal slant on a lot of this stuff is
it's not the
gun.
people.
Well, the gun is the bad guy, and it's what makes people bad. And
Right.
This Bruin is going to prove that the gun is not the bad guy, but the bad guy is somebody that they have to deal with on his own terms. And we're too nice of people anymore. I mean, very few people think like I do. So
Correct. And folks, I just have to tell you that I throttle him back a lot.
well, I can tell you, we would have a lot less recidivism if it
Right.
was.
if it were Judge Rob, yeah, it would be a whole different. It would be a different story. There's no doubt about it. So
Put
we're
a
there.
trebuchet in the Gulf of Mexico and shoot him out into the water.
And that would solve problems. Can you swim, dude? Can you swim? So no, so there's an article out of Vermont that sort of really kind of sets that tone, and then there's one out of California that just puts the frosting on that cupcake. So the first one is a Cam Edwards article, and one of the things is Vermont. When you talk about guns and gun laws, there's a lot of folks who talk about it. They call it Vermont style carry. Vermont never took away your right to have a gun in concealed, in open, in whatever. They just didn't. So they didn't have to give it back. They didn't have to give you a license. They didn't. So Vermont was one of the freest states in the Union for Second Amendment rights.
Unbelievable.
And then it was also one of the safest places because crime didn't run rampant. Well, what happened was that they had a political shift in Vermont, and that political shift fixed something that wasn't broken, and so then they started to add restrictions, and those restrictions were raising the age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21, establishing waiting periods, because their waiting period is now 7 days. Then they found that violent crime involving firearms, instead of them fixing this and making it better,
It's got worse, huh?
it's gotten worse. And then the second part is drugs moved in. So did drugs move in because of the firearms moving out? Did drugs move in just as an aside? I cannot tell you, but I can tell you that now they have an influx of illegal drugs. They have an influx of crime that goes with those illegal drugs. And so gun restrictions came in, self-defense gets harder, the drug trade comes in, crime goes up. Look at what's happening in those communities. So the United States had a 6% decrease in national firearm homicides. This is homicides, not suicide, not homicides. Had a 6% decrease. Vermont had a 185% increase. So where the rest of the United States is going down, Vermont is going up. And so that was the first thing. And so the other part is that in 1 year it rose. Yeah, overall there's that. Then it's just things started to get worse, and so it's now they have a stack of overdose deaths in Vermont that multiplies and magnifies that.
Yeah.
That is now another.
I can tell you, I don't know two things about drugs. I know more about jet engines than I do about drugs.
And you don't know anything about jet engines.
But I'm seeing the other day there was a news story where some kids took some edible gummy bears or something to school, and then all the kids were sharing them, and then they found out they were laced with fentanyl or something like this. I mean, I don't understand the fentanyl thing. I mean, if you're selling a product to someone that kills them, then you don't get much repeat customers at that point.
Right.
And so, but these kids they not brought the bag to school and shared it around, would they have just, them and the mom and dad or whoever had the stuff, just
them
died on their own,
right,
because no one was there to catch that they were acting wrongly?
Weird. So the kids didn't die, but they all had to be treated.
They had to be treated for this stuff. But
right,
it was like, but what was the? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know
what's the deal is, but if they catch you with this stuff, why?
I don't. Yeah, it's just it truly is out of control. So what's happened now is, like in Vermont, retail theft, crimes have increased, businesses are leaving downtown, all of that kind of thing, and you're seeing that in other states too. What, you've got 10 seconds.
Well, you see this downtown. They're killing our cities by they go in and rip off the stores and tear things up and stuff.
Okay, you ask yourself, who is this